Almost half of all college students have accumulated over $3,000 in credit card debt, and 1 out of 10 owes more than $7,000. Welcome to college. Because credit is something you'll most likely deal with for the rest of your life, the next 10 minutes might well be the most profitable 10 minutes of your college life.
When the school year began, were filled with tables from credit card companies.
And I received a credit card offer in the mail.
And after getting a few of these, I figured, well, it couldn't hurt to sign up for one. I mean, I don't always have cash with me. I could use one in case of an emergency.
It was one of those things where once I got to college, I thought, this is my decision now. Now I get to call the shots on when I buy things and with what I buy things. I said to myself, okay, no, I'm going to just use it for emergency reasons, like when I really need something and I'm waiting for a check to clear in the bank or something like that.
My friends would be out, they'd be buying food, they'd be buying CDs, whatever, and I just kind of got wrapped up in it. I wanted to keep up.
The first time I used it was when my cell phone got cut off, and that was $100. So I said, okay, well, I'll pay it, and then when I get the money to pay my bill, I'll just pay it to them.
Yeah, when I would buy something, I wouldn't say, do I really need this? Am I going to be using this for practical reasons? I would say, do I want this now? Can I get this now?
The second time I used it was at Blockbuster to get some movies, and like swiped it to get some Chinese food or something like that. So stuff that I really didn't need.
It didn't really get that bad until my sophomore spring break, when me and a bunch of my friends ended up going down to the Caribbean, some of the islands down there, and we ended up charging for most of that.
When you go to college, you're around, it's not like being at home when you're around people who have the same as what you have. When you're at college, you're around a lot of people who maybe have more than you do. Some have less, but some have more. So it's a little different.
The second card came while I had the first one. When I was in a store purchasing something, they told me I could get an extra 10% off my purchase if I applied for their credit card. And I said, well, I'm not going to use it because I don't really shop at this store. So that was untrue, because once I had it, I said, well, I don't have anything to wear. Let me go online and order some stuff.
Spring break was kind of a blur, so I didn't actually know how much I had actually spent with the card. So by the time the bill came, it was a bit of a shock to me to see exactly how much I had spent.
There was this thing called a minimum balance, so it was like, I don't have to pay $500, I can actually just pay $20. That's okay, you know, no problem. I can afford $20 a month.
I paid the minimums, and then I realized that if I only paid the minimum, it would take me like 5 years, you know, before I would be able to pay all of it off. So I would be 3 years out of school before it was all paid off.
They make the minimum seem so appealing, like $10. $10 is something you get maybe 5 times over, so oh, I can pay $10, but slowly, as that bill starts to climb, they add more and more and more to your minimum payment until it's too high for you to pay.
I got to get another job, and it was bad. I mean, I almost dropped out of school. I could not, there were thousands of dollars that I had no way of paying, and I couldn't ask my family to pay it.
When we were applying for apartments, we applied for 2. One person saw that he said he was going to check my credit, and he never even called me back.
And I didn't think that my credit card history was going to have an effect on me being able to rent an apartment, because I was able to pay my tuition, I was able to pay my room and board at school on time.
It pretty much boils down to a click of a mouse.
putting in some information, and then 2 to 3 minutes later, something that you could have done right out of high school or in the first couple of years of college that negatively affected your credit score automatically can have you denied for an apartment.
I went looking for a car, and they said that no matter what your credit, you can get a car. I didn't realize until I went car shopping that the worse credit you have, the more they end up charging you.
Something I explain to customers when they come in, when they say, well, you know, I've had some collections, I've had some bad things happen to me in the past, but that was a year ago, that was 2 years ago. What they gotta understand is, you know, banks and mortgage companies and creditors, they can go up to 10 years into your credit history. They can look back up to 10 years and see what's been going on. You will be followed around for 7 to 10 years. That credit will follow you. You can't hide from it.
You know, as an employer, the importance of a credit report tells me more than just their credit history. A credit card is an obligation, and it tells me whether or not someone is living up to their obligations. And if they're not meeting the obligations of their credit card repayment, can I count on them to live up to the obligations of their job responsibilities?
And if you have a bad credit, or if you're going to be dealing with money, let's say in a bank or on Wall Street, you're not going to be able to get that job. If you try to get a security clearance, if you have bad credit, you're going to have a tough time. So now, while you're young and in college, it's very, very important to have great credit, not to ruin your credit over a pizza.
And if I have 2 candidates in front of me, equal candidates, I'm crazy about both of them, but one has a good credit history and one does not, I'm going to lean towards the one who has a good credit history.
I thought they'd be checking GPA, checking references. I had no idea that the way I spent money and my credit card history would have anything to do with getting a job.
Really understand how a credit card works before you start using it, to really understand how the payments work on your card.
I think the best way to go is a prepaid credit card because it's already money that you have. You're not going to owe it to anyone.
Here in this country, everything is based on credit. So it's good to get, it's good to have behind a locked door or a drawer.
So don't carry it with you. That way you're not tempted. Keep it in your freezer, keep it in a plastic bag, but hide it somewhere, and so you're just not tempted.
Use a credit card because it does create a good credit history for you if you pay it off.
Always pay more than the minimum balance. Always, always.
Keep your limit probably at a 20 to 30 percentile of the limit of that credit card, and then make your payments.
It's very, very important to order your credit report every year. You can get a free credit report once a year.
The hardest part about having the credit card is not using it. It's so easy to use and not think about the payments that you're going to have to make later on.
College life and being on your own is stressful enough. Don't add to it by getting into credit card debt. If you find yourself in credit trouble or think you're in trouble, there are certified counselors who can help you. To find an NFCC counselor near you, call 800-388-2227 or visit nfcc.org.